Glenn Greenwald is an independent journalist who has been following this story for a long time. He's on Substack. He joins us tonight. Glenn, thanks so much for coming on. So this is obviously taking place as we speak, and it's hard to know the full outlines of it, but give us your reaction to it, if you would.
Well, one of the most striking things is this immediate climate that has arisen where there's a lockstep, unified script that everyone's required to follow. And if you don't, if you question it at all, you get accused of being a traitor to the United States and or an agent of the Kremlin. And one of the things most remarkable about this is that what you're not allowed to say now is something that people at the highest levels of the U.S. government have been saying for many years. For example, the idea that it is incredibly provocative, legitimately so from the perspective of the Russians, to expand NATO up to Russian borders is something that if you say now, both to identify the cause of the tensions, but also a way out of this war, to say we won't expand any further, including to Ukraine, you get accused of being a Putin spokesman, even though people like the director of the CIA, the current one, William Burns, said back in 2008, warning the Bush administration about expanding NATO on the grounds that it's not just Putin, but everyone in Russia, including his enlightened liberal opponents who view that as a grave threat to Russian national security. Or if you say, we believe that Ukraine is of vital national interest to Russia, but not to the United States, and therefore the U.S. shouldn't risk war directly or indirectly with Russia, you get accused of being a traitor. And yet that was Barack Obama's position for 8 years when asked why he wouldn't flood Ukraine with lethal weapons. And so many of the things that have been long recognized suddenly overnight became taboo.
So you got to wonder, I mean, in this environment, I think it would be very difficult for the Biden administration, and I think there probably are some people there who agree with you, but to say out loud, look, we deplore the invasion of Ukraine. I'm speaking for myself here, too, but we're really worried about where this could go and the effects on our country and the world. And so maybe it doesn't undercut our national interest to say what we've said for decades, we're not going to expand NATO to your borders. What would we lose in that? Sincere question, do you think?
This is an incredibly dangerous war, Tucker. There's two countries with the largest nuclear stockpiles on the planet on opposite sides. And this follows 5 years of extreme hostilities created in Washington due to Russiagate and other things that demanded that we not even talk to Russian diplomats and that we treat them as this grave threat. It's an incredibly dangerous situation. We should have done everything we could to avert the war and should do everything now to try and defuse it. And so if all we have to do, which is the Kremlin position, is promise that NATO will never expand to Ukraine and have Ukraine say the same thing, why aren't we doing that? Maybe that wouldn't work. The Russians say it will, but why haven't we done that until now? And why aren't we doing that now, given how dangerous this war and how horrific this war is to watch unfold?